And new this morning, French AI company Mistral announcing that it now has a partnership with global tech services company NTT Data. Joining us right now in an exclusive interview this morning is Mistral's co-founder and CEO Arthur Mensch, NTT Data CEO Abhijit Dubey. Good morning to both of you. I'll start with you, Arthur. What does this mean, and what does this partnership even look like? Where you may be muted.
I am. Sorry.
But maybe his mic is coming back.
Yeah.
How you doing, Arthur?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Sorry about being muted. So for us, it's a partnership that leverages our mutual strength. It's about deploying securely AI in enterprises. It's about powering NTT Data solutions for call centers. It's about expanding in the countries where we are operating. So that's France, Luxembourg, Singapore, Australia, and Spain.
Abhijit, how did this happen, and how do you think about the various companies that are creating these big models?
So, Andrew, we follow customer demand, and what we have found over the last, I would say, 3 to 6 months is a real inflection point in large enterprise customers wanting to move from mass experimentation, mass POCs that they've done around AI and generative AI, and really want to deploy enterprise at scale. Because the reality is most enterprise customers, even though they've spent a lot of money and deployed a lot of stuff, actually haven't seen the impact in their P&L and the income statement. And so there are two things that have become quite important. One is to have really fine-tuned domain-specific models. And the second is the desire to actually own the data and deploy these models on private infrastructure. So hence this partnership that we have inked with Mistral. We believe that with Mistral's highly flexible, highly customizable models, combined with our deep domain expertise in different industries, in different domains, in different process workflows, as well as our global private cloud, as well as private AI infrastructure, along with our data engineering and data integration capabilities, is a formidable force, especially in regulated and critical industries like public sector, defense, utilities, financial institutions, et cetera.
Hey, Arthur, how should the public think about your models versus maybe some of the other models and some of the big sort of frontier models, and whether the frontier models can actually ultimately do what some of the smaller models can do?
Well, first of all, the models that we've been releasing in the last 2 years have been always been within the top tier. In certain part of latency and in certain specific domains, we're actually state of the art. So when it comes to transcription, to optical character recognition, to deploying models locally on laptops, for instance, we have the best models. And if you look at the open source models and the open source models in the West, so including the US and Europe, we are actually the leading actor. So this has been critical in building the trust with enterprises. And what differentiates us from typical model provider is this full stack approach to actually deploying AI and changing processes in enterprises so that we can deliver on the value. What we find with enterprises is that oftentimes they don't really see the P&L effect of generative AI. And what we found is that it actually takes more than models to deliver that value. It takes tooling to deploy agents. It takes workflow orchestration engines. It takes observability and these kind of things. And it also takes an expertise that can be deployed with enterprises. And that's also the purpose of this partnership that we are doing today with NTT Data, which is about how do you combine technology and expertise and talent so that you deliver on the P&L expectations with AI.
Hey, Abhijit, what is your sense of just what this is ultimately going to do to employment and productivity? I think that's been the central question around AI in a much sort of larger sense. And there has been no real answer yet. And I don't know if you think there's a tipping point that we're about to reach.
I think it's too early to reach a tipping point, Andrew. Unless we get to fully autonomous processes within enterprises, which I think we are a few years away, I don't think we're going to see a significant shift in the white-collar work. I think in the blue-collar scenarios, I think that AI can do amazing things, because the reality is many of these job categories, we actually have shortages. For instance, I think in the US right now, there's 500,000 job postings, especially for manufacturing, right, that are open, that cannot be filled. And I think AI can play a very significant role in onboarding and training new talent, because you can encapsulate institutional knowledge in digital versions of our existing labor force. And that digital labor can onboard new labor pretty fast. So I think it's too early to say it'll lead to wide-scale unemployment. There are definitely some categories like software development where we are seeing a slowdown in terms of hiring of classic software developers.
Arthur, you want to take on that?
Well, blue-collar productivity is one of the focus of the multiple customers and partners that we have, in particular in Europe, but also in the US. Manufacturing is indeed suffers from a job shortage, and what we found, and to abandon what Abhijit said, basically generative AI allows you to handle high turnover jobs and make sure that competence remains because you have onboarding systems that are much more efficient. That applies to blue collar jobs and white collar jobs. Again, I don't think that we're reaching a tipping point anytime soon. On the other hand, I would say that companies are looking at how to reorganize themselves once they have done like end-to-end process automation with AI. That's what we do with CMA CGM, for instance, when we handle all of their container release and cargo release, and when we handle the multiple of software and the multiple of people that were involved in the process, we actually do an 80% productivity gain globally on the organization. And what that means is that you have many people that can be reallocated to higher added value use cases.